Hey guys, it's the Nerdy Movie Guy. It's been a while, but I have a new movie to review. This one is an 80s classic. It's a comedy, and it's one that I could not stop laughing through. So here we have Revenge of the Nerds. So I didn't know what to make of this movie before diving into it. I just kind of heard its concept, and it sounded hilarious, but I thought it could also be corny as well, so I was a little skeptical. Especially with that cover, which there's not a scene like this in the movie. This is just for the movie poster, which I think is great. And this movie was really, really funny. And it's also relatable. It's got a good message. This sort of just has a little bit of everything in it, to the point where this is a great recommendation for people who may be going through all kinds of stuff. So I really like this one a lot. So you have Lewis and Gilbert are our two main characters, and they're going off to college. They're best friends. They're going to college together, but they're also nerds. And just how they dress, how they laugh, the opening scenes, you just get a very strong impression. These guys are going to be picked on, and that's sort of the point of the movie. And so as we dive into them getting to college, just in the first 5 minutes, I was already laughing through so much of the first 5 minutes. But when they get to college, you have the villains for the movie, the jocks. Now, I think it is interesting they depict them as villains. I know most projects that have either high schoolers or college people as the main characters, jocks usually tend to be portrayed as villains. Now, does this mean that all of them are how they are stereotyped in the movies? No. But when you take the stereotype that the movies generally portray, it just makes it for interesting characters for a movie, especially when it's a comedy, especially when you have director and cast like in this movie that just sort of have fun with the concept and the ideas and the different jokes they throw around in the movie. It just makes it more fun. So immediately in this movie, you have these jocks are they're just, just chanting nerds at them over and over. And, they're just they're not dumb characters, but you can kind of tell the nerds are definitely portrayed as the smart characters in this movie, even though they may not be in the know of certain things, which those clashes is what makes it even better, which makes the script great, I think. And so as we're progressing through this movie, something interesting that I think is hilarious that happens is the jocks end up burning their own house down, basically. And so they kick the nerds out of their dorms and they take over for them. So the nerds are now having to stay in the gymnasium because the jocks, their coach, demands that they have housing so they can perform well in sports. And so I like to believe that something like that really wouldn't happen, wouldn't really be allowed if it were to be attempted to happen for real. But I think those generic concepts and ideas being overlooked in a comedy, especially for an 80s style film, I think it just sort of works with the overall theme and tone that it is going for. And so that's sort of what plummets this movie into an easy to follow plot with just these ridiculous stuff happening that may not be entirely realistic, but it's the nitpicked details being overlooked that allows it to be more entertaining and fun. So I'm glad that those things were sort of skipped over because it would just feel like it would be stalling the plot, and the movie would feel like it'd be dragging if this movie took the time to pay attention to the details that maybe someone nitpicking this movie would find. So that being overlooked, I think was a very strong choice for this one, which resulted in it being that much more funny to me. So by the end of this movie, sort of the opening is the nerds just being picked on constantly, and then the middle is them trying to get the revenge. And they're getting having some success, sometimes there's setback. So the middle is their struggle fighting the jocks, essentially. And I think it's great. This is the entertaining part, is the middle. The middle is its most entertaining part. But how it closes was not how I expected. I expected it to be a comedic showdown with sort of maybe this gag joke in the end, but it actually resulted in something that was really interesting. With the nerds in the end, they essentially, even after their victory, they kind of still lose, which I'll leave that up to you guys to watch the movie to know what I'm talking about. And you know, some of the characters just end up wanting to just accept a defeat. Some want to fight back. Some just want them to stick together. Nerds in general. So what happens in this closing is there ends up being this speech with one of the nerds, and he just invites all the nerds to stand together, and they stand as a united force. They get their housing back. They get the jocks to back off. And I think this is true even in today's world with so many different, maybe minorities. The more these people stand together, the more of a united force they become. So I think that's a really great message that can even be relatable for so many people in high school or in college today. So for something that was so comedic for its beginning and its middle, have that kind of a message in the end, it just not only made it a comedy movie for me, but it became a wholesome movie as well. So that's what I enjoyed about it, is when I say it had a little bit of everything, it has its comedy, it has its teachable moments, it has things to learn from. Whether you're a nerd, whether you're a jock, you sort of get both ends of the sides of the script with those characters as they blend and clash with each other's characters within the movie. So I really like this one a lot. This is one of my favorite comedies. I think this was great. Like I said, I was laughing through the whole thing. If you're going through, something where if you feel like you're a minority and you think standing together would help your situation, this movie will be very inspiring. That's my feel about this movie. I like it a lot, and I would definitely recommend this movie to anyone who just wants either a good laugh or a wholesome story. This movie had it. I loved it. Thank you guys for watching. Keep it digging, and I can't wait to give you guys more content.